real quick so we can stay on schedule. Give me 1 second. And 30. Okay. So welcome to the lobby. This is going to be a communication lobby. We're going to be going over what the communication roles on a team are, and how you're going to be doing them, and little pro tips and stuff like that to kind of help you in the right direction and things that you're going to be looking for to make more effective communication. Now, kind of to kind of give a schedule of what this is going to be like. The first 7 to 12 minutes is going to be me explaining what the roles are, what they do, how to do them, stuff like that. And then the next 3 to 5 minutes is going to be picking roles and changing some settings around to give everybody here a little bit more of a competitive edge to it, and also simulate a scrim. And then after that is going to be, usually ends up being around like an hour and some, where you guys are putting these roles into effect and playing that way. And then there will be times for questions and stuff. For the first couple matches that we're going to be playing, I'll be your training wheels and kind of guiding you through the rotation of comms and stuff like that. Toward the end, I'm hoping for like the last match or last 2 matches, if we have time, to let you guys just be free and do your own communication, and kind of practice that without me telling you, hey, we need to call targets, or hey, we need to come up with a plan, or alt track, stuff like that. All right, so that's kind of the goal from there. So before we get started, like I said, I got a couple minutes to answer any questions. Anybody here has any questions? If not, then we'll move on. No? Okay. So then I guess let's get started. If you guys have any questions, go ahead, type them out in the group chat at the bottom. And then I'll get to them when I get to them. So there's 3 roles when it comes to communication in Overwatch. You got your shot caller, you got your target caller, and you have your alt tracker. I say these in a specific order because these are the order that they're usually going to be talking in. Now, during the shot caller is going to be the first one to talk. During this phase, it's going to be like when the map's loading in, when you figure out what side you're on, during that loading screen, or not the loading screen, when the hero select screen. During that phase, that is when our shot caller is going to be doing a decent amount of the talking, okay? Now, if you're not a shot caller, which is going to be the other 5 people, don't say anything. Your job is to be quiet and listen. And this will happen before fights and stuff like that. So they keep that in mind whenever our shot caller is talking. Just let them get their plan out and stuff. Now, speaking of plan, that is kind of what their overall goal is as a shot caller, is planning to win. And that's going to start with a team comp. They're going to be building team comps. They're going to be looking for swaps and stuff to that effect. Next thing is going to be pathing a little bit to an extent, and playstyle. So pathing can be something that you can start out, say, hey, we need to go to the bottom left, or we need to go around the right side, or we need to go this way, or something like that. But your main tank will be the one that will also pass. So if you say, hey, we need to go left side, and then our main tank's going, oh, nope, can't go this way, our main tank's like, oh, back up, and then they can path. But ideally, you can kind of give a idea of, or you can give a route of where we should probably try to go, and then go from there and change stuff up if needed. Now, next thing that our shot caller is going to be doing, this is going to be more of a mid-fight thing, is going to be engaging and disengaging. If we need to, and this is more so on if we need to continue engaging in a fight, or if we need to back out and reset. These are very critical to explain to your team if we need to keep doing that, because you don't want to be fighting for 30-40 seconds in a fight that either might win or might lose. A lot of times it's going to be a lot easier, especially if they have spawn advantage, to just literally let them win the fight and reset and come back with ult. You do not, and especially when you're attacking. When you're defending, yeah, you can do that all day long because you're trying to waste as much time. On attacking, you don't want to waste time. You want to get the fights over with and move on. You do not want to let them stagger you out and keep the time ticking and stuff like that. So keep that in mind when it comes to that. Now, last thing that you're going to be doing is going to be alt managing, and this is going to be also before the fight, but it's usually going to be after the first or second fight, depending on when we get alts. But this is also going to be done before the fight, and this is just telling us what alts we're going to be using. So telling us, oh, we're going to use this alt this fight, and so on. That's all you need to kind of let us know. Now, a little pro tip when it comes to doing this type of stuff, we do not need a reason why you're telling us to do something unless you need us to do something specific. So let's say, for instance, we're running Ryan Zarya, but they're running a monkey, or no, let's say they're running a Widowmaker, and you're like, oh, we need to swap to monkey, or we need to swap to diva, or something like that. Okay, fine, fair enough. You want to do that? Okay, hey monkey, make sure you try to focus down the Widow. Okay, fine. If you want to make that play, then fine, go ahead and make that play. Is that the best play? I don't know. I'm not in the match at that time when it comes out. We'll talk about that later. But the ideology about this is more so of just tell us what we need to do and then move on. Keep everything short and sweet. And that's kind of the theme behind every single role. All right, now next is going to be your target caller. Your target caller is going to be the second person to talk. They're going to be mostly talking during the fight, or as soon as the fight starts, or to start that fight. So they will be talking nonstop up until it's like a 4v2 or a 6v2 or something like that, or when we're up 1 or 2, or when we have a huge advantage. During that cleanup phase, when there's only a couple people left, they don't really got to call any more targets because, I mean, there's only 2 people left, okay? Now, during this phase, if you're not a target caller, which is going to be the other 5 people, your main job is to relay information for a target caller to call better targets. Now, when you go to relay information, it's not that you need to be repeating it multiple times. You only need to say it one time. So if you see somebody out of position or somebody's low HP, call it out once. If somebody slept in the backline, call it out one time. If your target caller does not swap to kill that target, then the person that can go help or whatever, go help. And then everybody else needs to continue on with what the target caller is calling. All right, so keep that in mind when it comes to that. Now, there's about 4 things that you're going to be calling targets based off of, or switching to targets. And I'm going to list these out from the hardest thing / most uncommon thing to the easiest and most common thing that will happen, okay? So the first thing that's going to be one of the harder things or uncommon things that's going to happen is going to be low HP targets, right? Because as soon as you go and start a fight, you're not going to have a Reinhardt that's 1 HP, all right? That's... How often does that ever happen? Very rarely that you come out of spawn, all right, ready to fight. Oh, Ryan's low. Let's go ahead and attack him. No. So low HP targets, if you hear those or see those, go ahead, swap to those. Those can be easy kills, stuff like that. Next thing is going to be out of position targets. So that could be caused because they're in our back line, or they don't rotate correctly if we cause them to rotate. Any of these situations that you see somebody out of position, you can go ahead and feel free to swap to that target if it's a better target for us to focus down. Next thing is going to be abilities used. Now, this is going to happen really often, and this can be one of the easiest things to kind of call for. And this can be abilities that we use on a target and abilities that they use. So, like, say if they use a Zarya bubble, or they use Friendly, or they use Reaper's Wraith, or Moira's Fade, or Immortality Field, all these things that they may use, we can call targets after that. And focus those down because they don't have those abilities anymore. And same thing goes if we use abilities. Say if Ana gets an anti-nade on somebody, or we hack somebody, somebody gets pulled, somebody gets frozen. All these things are stuff that we can focus down once they're called. Just because abilities have been used. So these are things that you want to kind of keep in mind. And remember, all abilities in Overwatch usually last around, usually refresh in about 6 to 8 seconds. So keep that in mind. If somebody says, oh, blah, blah, blah is anti-nated, okay, that's already taken a second, right? Second or 2. If you don't call it within that next second, and it takes you 2 seconds to call that, that means we only have 2 to 3 seconds to react and kill that target before they can get healed. If it takes you longer than that, if it takes you that long to do it, and then we finally have to kill them, by the time we even focus that target down, they're going to be able to get healed again. So it's very crucial that you're calling targets as soon as you hear this information relayed and focusing them down. Next thing this is going to be the easiest and most common thing, is calling a target that everybody on our team can hit. So that's super easy because all you have to do is look at your least mobile and closest range hero on your team and go call a target that they can hit. So a couple examples of that is going to be like a Brig, a Moira, a Zarya, a Reinhardt, a Reaper, a McCree, May. Stuff that if they can hit that target, everybody on your team should be able to hit that target as well. And that's a very easy, like, first target to go for. Okay? And then swap to something else that may come up. So just kind of keep that in mind, because we should be calling targets as soon as we get to that choke. As soon as we're able to do damage, that's when we should be calling targets. Now, a little pro tip when it comes to calling targets and stuff is be the hype man. You want to make sure you're calling above everything else, because remember, we're going to have 5 people talking all at the same time. We need to have one voice that is repeating targets over and over and over again, so we can hear it through everything else, because there will be a lot of talking. So we want to make sure we can hear somebody over all of that. Also, if you're calling targets for 2-3 seconds or something like that, give a location out, either top left, right side, on the mega, on the mini, on your third person. Don't ever say these words. Never say here, there, or on me, because we don't know where the fuck that is or who the fuck you are playing. So always talk in third person, especially when you're playing with new people and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, last thing, and definitely not least, is going to be our alt tracker. What does an alt tracker do? An alt tracker tracks enemy ultimates. This phase is going to be done pretty much toward that cleanup phase and before our shot caller talks to make the plan. So during this phase, if you're not an alt tracker, which is going to be the other 5 of you, shut the fuck up. It's like, we need to get this information out, so let them talk and then move on. And then our shot caller will talk, and then we'll put that plan in order. Now, couple things that you're going to look at from an alt tracker's perspective when alt tracking to make it a little easier is, and these are not in any particular order, but these all work in entangled with each other. So nothing's like over the importance here. So first thing is going to be kill feed. So watch the kill feed. People's getting a lot of kills in the kill feed, they might be a little higher in alt charge. Next thing, look at who's on fire. Somebody's super high or on fire, they probably have been doing a little bit of damage. Doesn't necessarily mean they've been getting all the final blows, or it could be a lot of things, but these are things that you want to kind of keep an eye out for as well. Next thing, and these last 2 things really work well together. So the first one is going to be, just pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings. If you know that their tanks have been getting out with low HP and they get healed back up, their supports are probably going to have their ults before you. If you know that the DPS has been on the high ground and just free firing in, they're probably going to have their ults before you. So keep that in mind on playstyles, where they're coming from, all this type of stuff that's going on around you. Don't just tunnel vision on one thing that's going on. Look at everything around you and take a step back and kind of pay attention to that. Last thing is going to be kind of mirroring your own team. So if they have any mirrors on, if we're playing the same hero on both sides, look at our alt charge and compare that to what they could be, what they're running. So if we're running McCree versus McCree, and our McCree killed the other McCree, and we won the fight, our McCree's on fire, stuff like that, you see in the kill feed, and you look at our McCree, oh, he's at 78 on ult. Okay, you can probably assume, depending on when that McCree died, where he was playing at, all the other factors, that their McCree may only be at 30%, may only be at 40%, or a little lower, just based off of our McCree. So this is something that you can also look at to kind of help out when it comes to alt tracking. Now, a little pro tip when it comes to alt tracking is, and this is the same thing as everything else, keep it short and sweet. Keep it as fast as possible. We only got about 6 to so seconds to kind of get this information out, because ideally you want to have this information out so our shot caller can make a plan, and we can put that plan into effect before we start the fight. We want to have our plan done before we start the fight. So easy way to do this is just give a name and give a percent. That's all we need. We don't care if they used it last fight. We don't care if they did this. We don't care if they're whatever. It doesn't matter. Just tell us name and percent. Name, percent. Name, percent. Every single time, alright? So just kind of keep it short and sweet like everything else. Alright. That's pretty much all the roles and stuff like that. Now, does anybody have any questions over stuff that I may have not have gone over as well, or needs any more detail or anything like that? No? Okay. Now gets to be, I guess, the fun part, but before anybody types, before anybody talks, before anybody says anything, just listen, because this is important. This is where we're going to be doing roll call, where you guys get to pick these roles. During this phase, it's going to be first come, first serve. So whenever I open up the communication and stuff like that, and you guys are able to talk, I'll let you know. But for right now, how this is going to work, I'm going to say, does anybody want any roles? If anybody wants any roles, and they can go ahead and speak up. First come, first serve. If nobody says anything on any of the roles, I'll ask in order. Does anybody want to be shot caller going once, going twice, and then I'll pick based off of what what I think should be a shot caller. And then I'll go for the next one, the next one, next one. So there will be 3 roles that will be picked. You will be on that role probably the whole time. So if you want practice and stuff, this is your time to actually get this practice in. If not, feel free to just sit back and listen and take notes and practice yourself. But like I said, this is for people that are wanting to get this stuff in. Hopefully all you guys are here to learn stuff like that. So feel free to get better at it. If you think you're gonna suck at it, probably everybody will suck at it unless you've done it before. And it's better to suck at it and be in an environment where I can help you than try to do this in your own game and then end up fucking up and people yelling at you and then you lose a whole game because you thought this was right. So kind of keep that in mind. All right, so I'll go ahead and open up communication and stuff like that. So does anybody want any roles?
I'll have shot.
Okay, so Twin Cities will be our shot caller. Any other roles?
I will call out the, I guess the information that identifies where they are. Left, right, center, top, left.
Well, like, are you saying target calling, or you're just like telling relaying information?
I thought there was another role there.
There's 3 roles. You have your shot caller, which Twin Cities is doing, and they're making plans. You have your target caller, which is call targets, and you have your ult tracker, which tracks ultimates.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Okay, so does anybody want any of the other roles then? Not everybody talk at once. Okay, no roles? Okay. Now I'll go ahead and assign some stuff. Alright, so a target caller. Nobody wants target caller. Going once, going twice. Valentine, you're gonna be our target caller.
Okay.
And then alt tracker. Does anybody want to be alt tracker?
I can track ults. I can do that.
Okay. Cafe, you will be our alt tracker. Alrighty, so now let's go into our settings. We're gonna change some stuff up real quick, make things a little easier, and simulate a scrim as much as possible. So everybody go into your options, go to sound, let me know when you guys are there, and then we'll start going over some stuff. Okay. Then all you gotta do is private your profile and we'll be good. Okay, so go to sound, music volume, down to 0. Subtitles, critical gameplay only. Voice chat mode, open mic. M is to mute your mic by default. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, if you want to know, like the number 4 on.
That's actually, yeah, it's a good idea. If you want to change it. Next thing, we're going to go to controls. Go down to hero. And then allied health bars, put that on always. That's all we're doing in controls. Then we're going to go to gameplay. This one's going to be a little long one. Always skip kill cam, turn that on. Kill feed display, make sure that is on. Tips display, make sure that is off. Waypoint opacity, down to 0. Respawn icon, down to 0. Player outline strength, up to 100%. Then, that's pretty much it in gameplay. Then we're going to go to social. And then under career profile visibility, put it on private. It needs to be on private. All right. So we're about ahead of schedule by 1 minute and 8 seconds. Does anybody have any questions about anything before we get started? Okay. Make sure everybody's profile is on private. Valentine, change your profile to private, please. And let me know when that is.
Okay, that should be good.
Okay. Do I have to switch off of Marissa? Well, our shot caller is going to be making our team comps, and that's a really good question. So, let me explain how the room etiquette's going to go. For everybody. This is to help everybody get better at communication. So, meaning that I do not need anybody here trying to clutch some situation or try to make a better decision than our shot caller, target caller, alt tracker, or anything like that. let them make the decisions so that we can either pass or fail on our own. And so that we can say, okay, this is wrong because of this. If you make the decisions for them, then they will think that, oh, okay, well, I guess I did good or something like that, or it may not have been right, or what. We'll never actually see. So let them make their decisions. Don't try to clutch anything out. So that means picking certain heroes. If you like playing a certain hero, it doesn't matter. You're not a shot caller. The only person who's making team comps is our shot caller. That's it. If they want to switch or anything, then we can. If you want to switch a hero because either you're not doing good on it, or you don't like the hero, or anything else, the question you should just ask is say, hey, I'm not getting value on my hero. Do you want me to switch to something else? That is what I want you to ask. If they say no, then you're stuck on that hero. If they say yes, they will tell you which hero you need to swap to. If they do not reply, and this goes for any question that you ask, it is an automatic no. So if your target caller doesn't acknowledge some information you're giving, that means no, we don't need to focus it. If your shot caller does not acknowledge that you have your ult and you have an opportunity to use it, that means you do not use it. So keep that in mind. Other things is supports. Since I know this gets asked, since we do have a little time, if we are playing an Ana Lucio or a Zenyatta and you want to save somebody's life, you can use defensive ults freely at any time. Do not wait for your shot caller to say, oh, we need to use a defense ult now. Unless our shot caller says we need to hold it for a specific ultimate or specific play or something like that. If they say that, it is your job to hold it for this. So keep that in mind as well. Other than that, like, just sit back, listen, just play what you're supposed to be playing, and go from there. So really good question. I guess we'll call you Gyra. So thank you for that question. Any other questions or anything like that before we get started? No? Okay. Let me double check, make sure. Okay, we're all good. Like I said, these first couple matches, I'm going to be your training wheels. So whoever, Cafe, since you're our alt tracker, don't worry about alt tracking so much because I'm going to be talking a lot more. So there's not going to be a lot of time to alt track. I will try to call it if I can. I'll try to call it out. So, hey, let's go to alt track. If you feel like you can go ahead and alt track and you can go and you can get some information out, feel free to mention that to us, okay? Go ahead, take it into your own steps. Don't rely on me to tell you to alt track. If you can sprinkle it in and get it in, go ahead. But for right now, these first couple games, at least on average, it's going to be, I'm going to be talking a lot to kind of go from there, all right? Twin Cities, this is your call and your call only. Do you want to play this map, yes or no? Okay. I'll give it a second before we queue back up so we don't end up getting again. Some people don't like it. I know I don't like the map personally either. So
I like it on attack.
I don't like it on attack because you have to play a specific pretty much you have to play a specific team comp. And if not, it's you can still run it, but it's a lot harder.
There's some tricks to it.
Yeah, there is, but like the team comp that seems to work a lot is like running a ball and going through and then pushing them off the high ground and then running like flankers or which really forces like a couple play styles. Like you have to do, like you kind of have to do that.
Yeah, but when we're on quick play, I just run like Roadhog Sigma.
How are you going to run triple tank in quick play?
I mean,
quick play
like
classic, I guess.
Oh, okay, and quick play. Yeah, okay.
Well, see, this is where I like to use Sim because you can move the whole team with TP.
Yeah. That's the other playstyle too. You either move extremely fast, like, either way, either you dive in or you teleport in, but it kind of still restricts a lot of the stuff. So, all right, Twin, what are we playing here? Please, nobody pick any heroes until we get told what we're playing.
So, I want a Reinhardt and I want.
Okay.
Because we're gonna need pressure.
We don't care.
And then Aura and
What's your other
Not
support?
Genji, I mean not Mora and I was gonna say honest. I didn't.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, and then
And actually McCree because
okay.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
All right. Is there any specific thing that we need to be doing with this composition, or a certain way we need to go?
we can afford to take the high ground because we have the post.
Okay.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
Yeah, for anybody who wants to play a specific hero out of the two or whatever, just talk it with the other role and go from there. If not,
Genji.
Genji's main.
Working
Reaper.
ball. Reaper up top.
Reaper's half.
Low. Half.
If anyone tries to roll into our team, if the Genji's right there, he might be alone.
Ryan's going
I mean
bottom.
not right there. I mean he was at the top.
All right, we're getting close enough, so we can go ahead and start calling targets.
Let's get this ball. Jump this
Ball
ball.
sleep.
Balls one. Next target.
Diva.
Who are we on? Who are we on?
Diva purple. Diva's almost a mech.
Who are we on? Can we call targets, Valentine?
Get this Genji. Genji up top.
Diva's almost a mech. She's running.
Ball's trying to take.
So when you're calling targets, you need to be repeating the name.
Diva up top.
Because we have you, everybody else calling targets. Or relaying information. So if you're only saying it once, it doesn't. It's the same as relaying information. Bap drop. Bap's one, got him.
Slow. Thank you.
Baptiste down. Behind.
Break no stun.
Jump on this ball. I'm
Diva's almost a mech.
Diva's one.
Diva the mech.
I have high noon.
If you can stun ball,
Diva's
that'd be
purple.
great.
Yeah, I can in one.
He's late. You gotta take that down.
Who are we on? Who are we on? Who are we on? They're splitting us.
ball on point. Ball on point.
I can stun in one.
There's a Reaper
Ball,
on
ball, ball, ball.
Nice.
You. Shield going out.
There's a Diva out of mech somewhere. Did we get her?
I think so.
You can take a peek here, but don't go too far right.
I still have, what ult are we gonna use this fight?
Okay, so
Diva
if they
almost
come in
mech.
with,
She's
if
half.
they
She's
come
getting
in
the
with
health
their
back.
ult, if they come in with their ult, you can call behind the shield. If there's a good place to do that.
So what are we using? You spent way too much time talking. What are we using?
Using Coalescence and Honey.
Okay.
Reinhardt.
Nah, we're good. We're good.
McCree.
Not with you.
Where?
Diva the mech. Put down.
Reaper no Wraith.
I'm on fire.
Reaper's behind, I think. Okay.
Chasing that Reaper.
Reaper's one.
Reaper going back.
Lucio's coming in. Lucio's stun.
Lucio on point. Reinhardt's low.
McCree behind. On our supports. Who are we on?
We're on Diva. Diva low.
McCree's behind.
Diva the mech.
Diva
Next target.
Diva out.
Lucio on point.
3.
Keep repeating targets.
Best round.
So like, okay, so see how Cafe is calling, Cafe, you're doing a really good job relaying a lot of information. Okay?
Scores.
So with that being said, if they are saying, hey, blah 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 is the Mac, blah 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 is this or whatever, right? And you're only saying it one time as a target caller, there's two different things going through. So you have to be that voice above everybody else's that is calling that one target so we know what to focus, okay? Twin Cities, are we switching anything up here or what?
So, if Sigma's not gonna work here, well, it could work, but I want to go Hog if you find it's not working.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
We'll go through mid.
Running Hammond.
Yeah, the sim.
Yeah,
Hammond back right side. T-Mac and Diva. They're running for them.
don't let them build up that beam.
Here we on. Briggs behind us. Who are we on?
We're going for
T-Mac and Diva.
Briggs.
Brig,
one.
D-Mac Diva. Ball.
Ball. He's got the right hand side now.
I can stun ball in one.
We can't let Sim set up a corner. It's gonna be disadvantage.
I almost
Diva's
have high
bottom left
noon.
side. Diva's bottom left side. Ryan's going left side.
I have high noon. Do we need high
Take
noon?
that by yourself,
Nope.
Ryan.
They're on
Diva
point.
D-Mac.
Got turrets on point. Brig 'em.
He was
Come
down.
back.
3 on point. Here we on.
Ryan on point.
Going on Sim before Sim.
Reinhardt low.
Ryan's down. Tracer's half.
Diva.
Tracer.
Bottom left.
Tracer on the
Ryan
right.
too far.
Tracer gone.
Ryan's out of position.
By himself, right side.
My shots find them.
Okay, so this round,
Brig, bottom right side, or back right side, by herself.
So what are we doing this fight?
this fight, we can probably hold him off with just high noon.
Okay.
And then we can use Nano on Ryan once he goes at it.
Symmetra, switch to Echo. Run and Tracer.
Diva on the right. Let's get this Diva. She's half. Diva's half.
I'm on her.
Diva.
Almost.
Gone.
Moore's one.
Reinhardt low.
I'm down. You're down.
Echo's low. Diva's on point.
Diva. Diva's half. Diva's low. Diva's out of mech.
I was gonna say, I didn't notice you use Nano, but I was gonna say, the after shadow's not
Smart.
There's no real point to use it after he shatters.
Well, can
Like
I tell
if-
you what I was thinking?
Like if he's low HP, then yeah, but not if you're using it to like save his life. If he's low, then yeah, but I mean he's gonna have enough DP. If he's gonna have enough damage to kill most 200 HP targets, and we also have everybody else alive.
His shatter got a lot.
How?
Okay, so they get up a lot faster than it's like
So you said it got nerfed. So you're using Nano to do what exactly?
so it puts out more DPS because if you use it while he's like, let's just say they'll think he's gonna shatter because he got Nano.
Okay.
But if you, it'll kind of be like more of a surprise because Nano the second after shatter, and then he can throw a fire strike through it.
Yeah, but then nobody gets any ult charge from that ultimate.
I wasn't thinking of that.
Yeah, so the reason why, like, if you have 6 people alive, the main goal of using ultimates like Shatter, Grav, May Freeze, stuff like that, is to build other ultimates with them. Yes, Ryan can kill a lot of people, but if Ryan kills 4 people as soon as he shatters, he doesn't build that ult charge immediately. He won't even get any value from it. So yes, they'll be dead, but it's going to be much better to build an ultimate, a DPS ultimate with that, right? Because now they're stunned, they can't do anything, they're stuck there. So those are things that you want to be thinking of is like, okay, do we have 6 ults online? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and use a shatter or whatever. But ideally, if you have all 6 ults online, you probably want to use your DPS ults first. Then, if you need to, go ahead and use your supports if possible, if you need to, but if not, don't use them. But use your DPS ults first, or ults that just build super quick, like Bap ult, Moira ult, Valk, stuff like that. That's not necessarily going to win us games. You can use those. I'd say Valk is depending on the situation, but ideally you want to use those ults that aren't going to like get a whole bunch of kills or do a lot of damage and stuff like that. Momentum holder. Next thing, then you want to use your tank ults. Most of your tank ults are going to be kind of the same, kind of throwaway ults and building other ultimates and stuff like that, because if you use your tank ults after your DPS, then your DPS can build ults from that. And then you use your support ults if, like, your Valk and... ideally, it's Valk and maybe a BAP ult or something like that, to build everybody else's ult back up. Because that will build tank ults, that will build your DPS ults, and it will build other support ults and stuff like that. So that's kind of the rotation of ults that you want to go in. Now, a lot of times it's not always going to be that black and white, but ideally, if you have 6 ultimates online, use your DPS ults first, because they're building, they can get something they can't, it doesn't matter, then use your tank ults and then use support, if possible, or vice versa, depending on the heroes. And you said you had 2 questions, go ahead with the other one.
Yeah. First is I was thinking like that they could nano shatter like in last fight to like wipe them out.
Yeah, you could. I mean, if you need to, but you also, like, the thing that we're not doing right now is ult tracking. So if they have 4, 5, 6 ult online, you don't want to invest too many into a fight where you can still lose. So you got to be very careful when using that type of stuff, because ideally how King of the Hill works is if it's 99-0, once it's 99%, they probably have a lot of their ults online, and you may only have 3 or 4. If you invest 2 ults into that, now it's 2 ults versus the 6 they're going to have, you're definitely going to lose pretty much anyways. But if they only use 1 to win a fight and you use 2 and they still end up winning, or it's an even trade, now you're at an ult disadvantage. So that means 1, you have to play slow and you have to lose the next fights, which ideally you're probably going to do. And then the next thing is that if somebody ends up using ults freely, you end up wasting an ultimate, and then now it's an even fight territory. So those are things that you want to kind of keep in mind. And this is what happened in one of the comp games that I was watching, is like, they thought they won the fight, Lucio went to go beat, they was able to touch the point, and then they ended up capping the point, and we lost that round, just because of that ultimate that came out super early. So it's never over until it's actually over. Be very careful about that. The only way I would say, like, yeah, you want to try doing that is, like, if we get a kill, and it's at, like, 86, 87%, yeah, that fight's pretty much over, so if you can wipe them there, yeah, definitely go for it. Which I think is what happened, but that's something that you didn't mention when it came to your thought process. It was just like, it's last fight, we need to win this. So that's one big key thing on when it comes to last fight, is look at the kill feed. Do we have a kill? Yeah, okay, then let's go ahead and wipe them here. And then you said you had another question, or?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's just real quick. What your input on the team comp?
Team comp wise, everything was okay. I wouldn't say running an Ana and Moira, because there's no need to have 2 flex supports like that, and both 2 flex supports with high output healing usually is going to mean that you're not going to build support ults as fast and rotate them as fast. We also don't really have a quote-unquote defensive play. Like, we can nano and save 1 person, but Moira and Ana, they don't really do anything for each other, and they don't do anything extra for the team. If we was running an Ana Lucio or a Moira and a Lucio, that Lucio's gonna give us advantage for our ride and speed the whole team up, or we can run a Brig instead of the Moira, or instead of the Ana. It doesn't matter. We should have a main support usually in there some way, so we can have a playstyle. With this team comp, with our support line, we don't really have a playstyle that we're going for. It's just we have a shit ton of hills, but okay, that's cool, but it doesn't matter if they have burst damage, because we just get bursted down. So you want to try to have some type of utility or playstyle that you can go with your main support. That's usually what their main support's going to bring, is a playstyle. If you're running a Mercy, Res. If you're running Lucio, Speed. You run the Brig, you're Brawling. So, kind of keep that in mind.
That's all I don't know.
All right. Other than that, like I said, team comp wasn't terrible. It worked. And bottom line is, if it works, it works. So keep that in mind. Next thing is your engages and stuff like that and getting out. And I didn't hear anything where we need to call out, except maybe 1 or 2 times. There's a couple times where we got a couple kills and you didn't tell us to continue engaging. That's something you gotta fix. You gotta make sure that if we're up 2 in a fight, it doesn't matter if we walk up to their spawn. We should be killing these people. That is going to build us ult charge. We are going to win that fight. Now, if they use ultimates and stuff, that's going to be on you to, or on our supports to kind of use those ults to keep the momentum up. But if not, we just kill them. We do not want to let people get out for free. Okay? So whenever we get a kill, you have about 4 seconds to push for it. After those 4 seconds, you want to pull back. If we get another kill, add another 4 seconds. Another kill, add another 4 seconds. Because at 6 seconds, they spawn back in, so you want to have around 2 seconds of prep time to get the fuck back and reset before you actually try to take a fight or something like that. Happy New Year to you as well, Hakuna. So next thing, ultimate plays and stuff like that. Overall, I think your ultimate plays were good. But the thing is, I want to mention for everybody, please do not use your ult if you have it. There were multiple ults that we just kind of freely threw in, like Shatter, Doomfist ult that we didn't coordinate anything with. Even though you're the shot caller, we still need to know what you're doing as well, so we can make sure we can support you through it. Moira ult I think was kind of used. No, I think Moira ult was actually coordinated. Other than that, I think our Shatter, and I don't know if Flux went out freely as well, but I know for sure Shatter did a couple times. And this goes for everybody. Do not use your ult unless you are called to use it that fight. Okay? If you see an opportunity to use it, then ask your shot caller, hey, do we need this ult this fight? If they say yes, then use it. If they say no, don't. If you're getting close to use your ult, because I know Reinhardt's a little tricky when it comes to that, at 80%, you should be telling your shot caller, hey, I'm close to Shatter. All right, cool. Our shot caller should say, oh yeah, we're going to need Shatter when you get it. And if you don't say anything, then don't use your ult. Simple as that. You can't just use ults freely. Or multiple times where we used the ult when we didn't even need the ult. So keep that in mind when it comes to using those things, because in higher ranks and stuff, when you get to those areas, if you waste ults like that, in a team environment, enemy team's just going to punish you. Yeah, okay, you win the fight, but you were already up 1 or 2, or they was already backing up. There's no need to use ults there. So keep that in mind when it comes to that. Next thing, target calling. Target calling wasn't terrible. You started repeating targets and stuff like that. One thing I want you to do is, because your voice is fine, I just really need you to hard commit to repeating targets over and over and over again and calling out that first target every single time. Now, I will say on your target priority, there's a couple times where you're calling out the ball that was on high ground. Look at our team comp. Who can focus the ball that's on high ground?
Only one would have been free.
Yeah, so you're telling the whole team to focus on one target. If I know the ball's on high ground, I can try to deal with that, or Doomfist can maybe try to deal with that. You don't want to call targets that only 1 or 2 people can hit. If there's nothing to call and they're not in those, okay, fine. But if nothing else is going on, then you don't need to call anything. So, like, when that ball's coming in and he's spinning and he gets stunned or something, yeah, go ahead, focus the ball for a second, but we don't need a hard commit to it, okay? Because he's going to get out. He's going to get out. So you can always call, all right, just pull back. You can tell us to pull back if we don't need to continue pursuing the target, okay? But the first thing that I need you to do is literally repeat names over and over and over and over again. I want you to be annoying as fuck, okay? And then we can dial it back. You're not there yet, okay? Alt tracking, hopefully this next round we can get a little bit of alt tracking. And one thing I will mention again for everybody, during our shot calling phase, so whenever we're trying to plan a fight, so whenever Twin Cities is talking about planning next fights, everybody please be quiet so we can get this information out. And same goes when we do start alt tracking. So Cafe, whenever Cafe is talking, please shut up. Don't try to call out information, stuff like that, unless it's super critical and it needs to be said. Try to keep the comms as clean as possible so we can alt track as fast as possible. Cafe, whenever the fight's kind of over, whenever it's a 4v6, I know that last one was kind of a little bit of a constant fight. We didn't really get a lot of super resets in, but whenever you see it resetting, go ahead and try to sprinkle that communication in of what ults they may be having, okay? And if you don't know, 0, 50, or 100, give any type of percentage that you can, okay? But other than that, that's pretty much it. Did anybody have any questions about that first, like, little analysis or anything? No? Okay. Go ahead, go into the next one.
Oh yeah, I like.
Oh yeah. Well, there's no more Christmas music now. It's all what stream beats, I think, is what everybody's using. All right, Twin, what are we playing here?
We can play Orion, a Hog, either Hog. For healers, a Lucio and a Mercy, and Mpulse, McCree.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Justice ain't gonna I heard there's a nice reward for bringing you fellas in.
You like the overlay? Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, there's a all new stream. New animations, new scene switches, stuff like that. I'm really happy with how this overlay for my camera came out when I did it. So, yeah, I like it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we'll try going down the bridge, but if they have a boot.
Much obliged.
Is that?
Okay, they have a Lucio, so watch out for that.
Right.
Signal on a high ground. Run a deal.
I took down Lucio first, so there's no boot. Except for
They have a Bastion.
Bastion.
I don't know where the
we
Bastion's
can
at.
ignore him since he's way up there until he comes down.
Briggs.
Brick by yourself.
Diva's low.
Bastion is setting up again on the high ground. Well, actually, no,
Bastion's down. Who are we on?
Sigma.
Nice, cool.
Down.
Tracer's one. Lucio's one.
okay, we can keep pushing up Sigma's base. There's only 2 right now. Someone needs to be on guard though. Person to stay.
Ryan, are you here? Is Ryan lagging out?
Debuff top, behind, back left.
Oh, there he is.
You get the free. Don't let her contest.
Diva.
Diva's one.
Diva D-Mac.
Watch out, Mpulse. Okay,
I have high noon here. Do we need it?
Sigma.
not right now.
Okay. Hey, watch the Bastion top right.
Trying to run away.
Get this mercy.
Moira's low.
If we win these fights, we can just push up.
I have payload. I have payload.
Moira.
Diva left side.
We're down.
But get together, Ryan. Come on, a little bit.
I got point. You guys can push. I'll walk.
Okay. So Diva's up there. She's
Diva
not
top
gonna
right.
come up
Give
here,
us
she's low.
one hit.
Watch out for that.
Are we using any ults this fight?
We can use Shatter. And then we could try to get Hog on. Wait, no, yeah.
Ryan, you're by yourself.
Try to save Ryan.
Moira's one.
Let's get this mercy. Mercy's on. Fine.
You can use
Tracer's on your McCree. Tracer's on your McCree. Oh my god.
I'll try. Tracer's down.
Alright.
Okay, now Ryan, shield up and try to hide you.
I got it.
Diva's top right.
Soldier's one.
Soldier's down.
Just keep pushing up. We can block this part.
At the point. Somebody's behind. Tracer's behind. I'm stuck.
If you have res, you can try.
Tracer on cart. Let's get this Tracer. She's half.
Well, actually, don't
half.
wait. Yeah.
This is not your time.
Tracer's half.
Alright. Are we still fighting this?
No, get back just a little bit. We don't have a man tank.
Okay, so if we're gonna reset and get out, can we alt track Cafe? What ult are
Wanna
they?
load it?
Yeah, what ults are we gonna use? Or what ults do they have, sorry?
We need to save.
They have Sigma ult. They have Tracer ult.
Save your
And they should have Soldier ult as well.
Okay.
Tracer just use ult.
Okay.
Ryan, we need to come back, save your shield. We'll build up your shield at least.
It's behind, I think.
Tracer behind. Tracer down.
Push up Ryan and Brett.
Heroes never die.
Oh, okay, we got this. Now beat.
Diva.
Diva's one? Not anymore.
Diva's out.
I got payload.
He's out of mech.
Diva out of mech.
I have high noon this fight. Can we alt track?
Once it turns to
Hold on, alt track first. Alt track first.
Tracer on the left.
They
Cafe?
have Soldier ult.
Let's get this. Mercy's one.
And they have Mercy ult.
Okay. What else are we gonna use this fight?
we can do one at a time. You can once we break the shield, we
We
can
have McCree, Rhine, and Roadhog.
and now once we break this, wait, no,
They use
go
Soldier
back,
ult.
go back to long.
Oh, they swapped the Reaper. Can we go ahead alt track again, Cafe?
Yeah, So they just use Soldier ult. Monkey's brand new. They have no ults right now except
Get
for
this
Moira.
doggy moving.
Okay. What else are we going to use this fight, Twin?
Okay, so we can try to use Bullhog just to get safe space, and then we need to find out Reaper before you get high noon.
Reaper's behind.
Reaper behind.
We baited out nice.
We lost.
Someone.
They're rezzing.
They're rezzing.
Are we still fighting this? What are we doing?
No, we're back here.
Okay.
Reaper left side.
It doesn't matter. Because they just use monkey ult. Gather your ult.
I still have high noon.
Reaper behind. Thank you.
Alright, can we go ahead, I'll track again?
Alright, yeah, so they have Sigma ult's about 60%.
If they're on
Soldier
high ground,
ult's
you
probably
wanna
the
just-
same.
we can go
Hey,
through-
hey, hey, hey! We're all tracking,
They
shut
still
up!
have Moira ult.
Okay, what else are we going to use this fight? Twin.
You can use high noon and my ult.
Okay?
Monkey.
Alright, high noon
Go
in.
ahead and shield that. You can high noon here. Okay, push in.
Reaper's right side. Stun him, stun him, stun him!
Monkey behind.
Monkey.
I have beat.
Slow. Monkey.
The monkeys have.
Monkey's down.
If they get their visor or their
Mercy.
that's awesome. I want to get
Mercy
visor,
just
that's
popped
awesome, I
ult.
want to be.
What are we using this
Yeah,
fight?
Moira ult, and they
If
have
they use
Soldier
people, I
ult.
want you to be, and then we can once it gets to the showing the meters,
Reaper ult's about
we can
50%.
pour ult. One is on the-
Balls half.
Balls one.
Balls one. Gotta.
Let's get this monkey.
Now push up to the doors.
Watch for Mercy. Balls res.
Res Hammond. Get this ball.
Reaper's teleporting
Watch for
behind,
Reaper.
teleporting behind.
I don't have stun.
I use whole hog.
I have high noon.
We just zone it. Nice kick.
Okay, so overall, much better improvement. No, this is the second game for this group, Hakuna. So overall, much
Play of the game.
much better improvement. Sig left his team for my easy chat. Oh my god. See, look, see, and there's no reason. See, like, when he like, if you would have nanoed, it wouldn't have made a difference. So, like, that, like, right there, it shows you two swings are dead. If I strike a swing, he's dead. So, like, one of those things. Just so keep that in mind. Next thing is going to be, so, shot calling and stuff. And one thing that I want you to do, stop telling us why you're telling us to do stuff. We don't care. Like, your main goal is literally telling us what to do. We don't need to know why you're doing it. The only thing we need to know why is not even really a why, is telling us supports to hold an ult for a certain reason, or for a certain ultimate. So every time you're telling us the ult, it takes you 5-10 seconds to get that information out. Just tell us what ult we're going to be using it for. If you want us to use something specific, then fine. But as you see, we do not have a lot of time before fights. Okay? So there's a finite time we have before a fight is over, before the next fight begins, which means you have to get a lot of information out extremely quickly. If you take too long to get that information out, now we don't get any of that information. So keep that in mind. I want you to just tell us what we're playing, what ults we're doing. If we're going to use high noon first, and then follow up with shatter if we need it. And then if we get, like, for example, is like, if we are going to shatter next or something, right? And you say, all right, let's high noon, and then I get a kill or two with high noon, and you feel like we don't need any ults, your call needs to say, we do not need any more ultimates, okay? That has to be something you're starting to say, because you're not saying that, and you're not telling us that we need to reset, which is why our Mercy Val, because you said, oh, you never told us that we're resetting. because it could have been winnable if we invested ultimates, but you're not telling us if we need to keep fighting, if we need to reset. You have to make sure you're getting that information out for our support line so we don't keep fighting, okay? And don't use any ults. That is a key thing that you got to make sure you're telling us. Not use any ults or reset or anything like that. If we happen to say, hey, we're resetting, and you end up using an ult, then, like, you're throwing. Don't do that shit. Listen to what your shot caller is saying. And please, like I said, whoever our Mercy was, make sure that you're only using if you're playing a Mercy or something, only using Valk unless we're going to be called to use it. I think there was a couple times where you just kind of use it just because. And I want to keep it as black and white as possible. Just the Ana, Lucio, Zen for defensive ultimates. Everything else we're going to try to make a play with, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. If you feel like you got a good opportunity to use Valk, then let our shot caller know so they can make that decision. But in this lobby in particular, I just want them to make I want them to make those decisions and leave the solely quote unquote black and white defensive ultimates up to them. Next thing, target calling. Target calling was a little bit better there. You're calling targets more repeatedly. But you're also one thing I do want you to try to do is speed up your speed in talking. Okay, and that'll bring that hype that we're needing. Because your voice is loud enough, but you gotta remember that everybody's gonna be talking and stuff. So try to get out information a little bit quicker. So like when you're calling the sig, be like, oh, sig, diva, like talk faster so you can bring that hype level that we need. Okay. Because if you're talking more monotoned and laid back, that's how your calls are going to sound, which means if I'm not really paying attention, it's just going to fall under everything else. If you're bringing that hype and being way more hype than everybody else, then you're going to make everybody amped to kill those targets. All right, so try to do that a little bit if possible, but just keep repeating targets a little bit quicker and keep doing what you're doing. Everything's going good there. Alt tracking's pretty good for the most part. One thing I want you to do, and you did this I think 1 or 2 times, give every single ultimate and just give a name and a percent as much as possible. So whenever, like, one thing I will say, and it's not a lot of clutter, but it can be if it's done too much. So like when they swap to the Winston, you said, oh, well, they just swapped to Winston, so Winston doesn't have his ult or something like that, right? We don't need to hear that information. We just need to know Winston's at 9% or Winston's at 0%. That's all we need to know. That extra 2 seconds is 2 seconds more that we don't need. So try to get that information out as fast as possible. Just give his name, percent, which you did a couple times, but overall, just try to shorten it as much as possible and list out at least all 6 members every single time. Now, for everybody else, whenever we are alt tracking, and this, I think this only happened with our shot caller. Shot caller, you have to let our alt tracker talk because you need to know what ults we need to look for because you may need to change your playstyle. And this is a little more advanced stuff, but since you've been in here and stuff before, you need to be thinking, oh, if they have a Reaper ult this fight, or if they have this ult this fight, or they got a Reaper and a Sigma ult, you can say, okay, Lucio, save your ult for Sigma ult. McCree, save your stun, or we can save stun for Reaper. So you can start thinking of defensive plays. You need to, or say they have Grav this fight, right? You can say, all right, everybody make sure you play split up. Don't play super close together. So now you're not necessarily countering an ult with another ultimate. You're just changing your play style up. So these are things that you need to be thinking of. And this is why it's crucial to hear this alt tracking and for you to try to make a play, okay? So any questions or anything like that from any of the other stuff? Or anything that may have not have gone over in as detailed as it needs? No? Okay. Go ahead, go back in. But overall, you guys are doing really good. You're consistent so far. There's minor improvements that you do want to try to make, but overall, right now, you guys are pretty consistent when it comes to your communication. Communication is constantly being fed, which is good. So.
Now entering the temple of Anubis.
All right, cities. What are we playing here?
I think it dive.
Okay.
Winston, Diva, Lucio, and Baptiste.
Kind of awkward for dive.
We can have a Genji and a Reaper.
What are you wanting, Cities?
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I'm just as good at both. I'll go Genji.
Oh, okay.
Walks among you. So if I'm playing Winston and a target calling for
That makes it super easy for you because we're pretty much following you in. So, you whenever you're going to go jump and go dive on something, that's when you call.
Also, real quick, Lucio, make sure that Bap is still with you because he's gonna be the slowest of us all.
Capture objective A.
Alright, okay, we got to play style with it. Alright, I'm ready.
We can go straight through middle if we can all dive at once.
I'm ready, monkey.
They're running Widow.
Baptiste,
Widow's top left.
Baptiste is half, Baptiste is half, lamp's down.
Fuck.
Diving back for heals.
Are we still fighting this? What are we doing?
Reinhardt's on point.
We gotta get out. We gotta get out.
Okay, reset.
I'm down. You lost the healer.
Yeah.
Get back even more.
Archie,
We're gonna still
Mac.
taking shots. Just run. Just run.
Alright. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Alright, down the time whenever you're ready.
Dive that center platform. Or dive up top. It's Widow.
Widow's left on the
Let's
platform.
help Winston. We gotta help Winston.
Who are we on? Who are we on? I don't know who we're on.
Lamp.
Ryan down.
Reaper behind?
Widow bottom left. Bottom right.
Dive Widow.
I can't teleport up there.
Widow's getting healed by... I shouldn't have ulted. My bad.
Just keep it alive. We got this.
Winston.
Get the nice.
Treaty just go.
Okay,
Okay, let's go to all track.
their Reaper's about 52% as well. Their Winston has ult. Their Rhine has ult.
Our play right
And
now
Winston
is
guard.
A captured.
Baptiste does not. He's about 10%. Mercy should have ult.
Okay. What else are we gonna use this fight?
for the first fight, we'll try not to use ults. Let's just try to build some.
Okay, let's go. We need to take this fight as fast as possible. All targets. Who are we on? Who are we on?
Reaper's half.
We got to kill.
Lamp up.
You can push in some. You can push
Widow,
in, but our job is to kill.
Widow's on the right.
Reaper used ult.
Back out. Left,
Nope.
back out.
Widow's top right. She's on that platform.
Not sure if Intended drink the sour chug rug from G Fuel is so good. No, I haven't. I've never had an actual I've never had an actual energy drink before. I've tried a couple, but I've never
The
drunk
Reaper's
before.
top right, monkey.
Got a deep Widow watching from top.
Alright, so what is our plan this fight?
I was gonna say engage with people bomb, but we can't do that.
All right, so Ryan should have shatter.
We want to build B so we can contest point.
Alright. So no ults this fight?
They have shatter and mercy ult.
Reaper's on the right.
Reaper's down.
Reaper's down.
You want to use ults? I have ult
They
here.
use Widow ult.
Again.
Reaper has ult this fight.
Diva.
Come on, Diva. Diva's on. Do you want Reaper ult this fight or no? Alright, well, I'm dead.
You lost the healer. I'm down.
Yeah.
We lost half team.
Alright. What ults do they have, Cafe?
Okay, so they have Diva ult. They have Reaper. They should have Reaper ult still. No. Sorry, Reaper ult should be at 30%, and they have Mercy ult still.
Okay. What ults are we going to be using this fight? We're still waiting on our Diva. Okay.
We'll use Blossom and he'll have Beat, so we can use that.
Okay.
to get in.
Widow.
Alright, ready? I'm...
Get behind us.
Woo!
Reaper
They have that thing there.
We
I'm
caught
not-
Baptiste ult. We shouldn't be there.
Gotta back
Alright,
out
we
again.
still backing out?
You don't have that.
Alright.
And if you think you're safe, you probably aren't because they've done that before.
Yep, that's when you need to call
Divas demech.
a reset. Alright, so what are we doing this fight?
Alright, so they use
If you
Shatter.
want-
They
if you
have
want,
Diva
you-
ult and they have Mercy ult.
Okay.
You can switch to Ryan because that'll help with the ult.
Okay.
Monkey, I mean. You might need that matrix still.
Reaper ult should be their Reaper ult should be probably about 70%, 60%.
Yeah, because all you're gonna do is be as monkey. That Reaper
Okay, what did you want me to switch to? I didn't hear that part.
ult. A Ryan Heart.
We already have a Rhino Diva swap.
Widow's left side.
You never said who switched.
Diva. No, I told monkey to switch.
Oh, okay.
Oh damn.
Should I stay monkey or swap?
Well, one of you play monkey, one of you play Ryan, one of you play Diva. Make fast.
Oh, okay, then yeah. Monkey just go. What?
Widow's top left.
King or what?
We're waiting, and people's not listening to communication, apparently.
I have to
Oh,
back
God.
up and let Ryan build a shield again.
I've not used it all once. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Alright, so,
Widow's
There were
top
plenty
left.
of chances.
I'm
Don't
gonna
worry about
Diva, I'm gonna Widow.
what else are we going to use this
Left
fight?
side.
Reaper mid,
Use B
Reaper.
once you use the blossom.
Roll down.
Okay.
He's low.
I'm going to boss him now.
You can also use blade.
Reinhardt style. Reinhardt. Get him, he's low. Reinhardt's low.
He's
Reaper's.
almost demech. Diva demech. Baptiste back up. Yes.
Baptiste is getting pocket by the Mercy.
I'm gonna try to keep him in spawn.
Can we keep calling targets?
McCree.
Shit.
Oh, unlucky.
I got pushed in the air.
Are we still fighting this?
No.
Alright, we got 30 seconds.
Baptiste has ult.
30 seconds.
Mercy has ult. They have Diva ult.
Okay.
And McCree should be about 30%.
What's your is your matrix? I'm not matrix. I mean your
They also have Shatter.
No shield here.
Reaper left side.
Still left side.
Reaper's down.
That's right, Diva. Go left.
Sorry.
Alright.
Oh, we gotta help.
Who we on? So one thing, obviously, pay attention to time. So cities, that's kind of like everybody should be doing that in general. But cities, you need to like make sure you're emphasizing how much time we have left, because we had 30 seconds and we're still and you're still like talking about where we should go and stuff like it. We have like 10 seconds. We gotta touch. Somebody has to touch. So you have to worry about that. Next thing is one, and this is for everybody. If please listen to what's going on. Because our Ryan swapped to this, and that whole situation is one, people not listening as well, and then not making decisions. So it goes one on our shot color, maybe, but I didn't hear it, so I can't confirm if that's the case. But to make things easier, whenever you are telling people to swap, just make sure you are saying who is swapping to what. Don't say we need a Ryan, because I did hear, we just need a Reinhardt. And then I didn't hear who was supposed to be swapping. So if that's the same thing that Jara heard, then that's probably what they heard, and whatever. If they didn't say that, then listen to the comms so that we don't have people swapping off main tank to flex tank and flex tank to main tank. Stuff like that. You don't want to be having that. We spent 30 seconds, 30, 45, a whole pretty much fight, literally because we had to switch heroes and stuff like that, do that whole situation. So just kind of listen, and that's why it's important that nobody talks during that phase, that when we're planning and stuff, so that stuff like this doesn't happen, so that everybody can hear. Next thing is ultimates. The first time on second put, when we was taking first point, because the first point push was fine. Second point push, when you said, hey, don't use any ults here, that's fine. That's a good idea to go ahead and use that if they don't, so we can build some ults up. Okay, cool. We have time. Let's go ahead and try doing something like that. All right. If we get a kill, that is your time to say we need to invest ultimates because now it's a 5v6. We can get 33% here. It is not that you need, when you think of 2CP, it is not you cap 1 point, you cap 1 point. Well, technically you cap A and then you cap B, but you have to cap B twice at least. But you need to be thinking of it as 33%. Can you win a fight for 33%? That's how you want to be thinking of it. Okay? So don't try to wait for all 6 ultimates to come online, because 9 times out of 10, we're not going to get value with all 6 ultimates if we try to pop them all at the same time. And by then, it's 30 seconds left. And how our Baptiste was saying, they held ult pretty much the whole game. They built their ult in 32 seconds. Use that. You have to, as a shot caller, you should be always hitting tab. Who is building the most ult charge? Does it mean they're getting a lot of value? Does it mean they're not getting a lot of value? Are they just building fast ults? Whatever. If you see that Diva is building a bomb in 20 seconds, you should be using a bomb literally every single fight, because they will get it back in 30 seconds. Okay? That needs to be your play. Now, if you do want to do a dry fight, that's fine. But after we do one, we do not need to do multiple of them. And we need to be making a play with an ultimate every single fight. If we get a kill on a dry fight, then you should automatically swap to, oh, we need to use this ultimate. We should use this ultimate. We need to use something to push this momentum in our favor over the top. Because 2CP on the second point, they are spawned right there. It's a lot harder to touch. Or it's a lot harder to cap that. So keep that in mind. Next thing, when it came to target calling was a little late. So whenever you're jumping in, so for instance, since you're on the Winston and stuff like that, whenever you're jumping in, you should be telling us who you're jumping in on and going that way. If you jump in and then try to tell us, I don't know who I'm supposed to be focusing, and then there's sometimes where you jump in and then you don't say anything until I say something, you have to immediately start going off of whatever target we need to focus. Okay, because once I teleport in, that's pretty much it. I'm shooting whoever I need to shoot. If we all shoot the same person, that target should be dead in like 2-3 seconds, because that amount of burst damage, okay? So keep that in mind whenever we're going to dive in, or whenever you're calling targets, especially like that. And then also, like I said, shot caller, you're not necessarily calling resets as fast. We're taking too long of fights and you're not really calling anything. Make sure that you're calling for resets. And like I said, alt tracking seem to be a lot better. I think you're weighing them a little low though. Because I know when you was telling, like, after our first push, you said, oh, Reaper's probably at 52% too. You got to take into consideration they won that first fight, and they at least killed me, and they killed maybe another couple people. They're going to be higher on alt charge than I will, because they won that first fight. Okay, so keep that in mind. When it comes to looking at alt charge, they may be kind of paired a little bit, but if they win a fight, they're probably going to be a little higher. So good job on the mirror thing, because I noticed that you're looking at my alt charge, you're saying, okay, well, they're probably there. It's better than nothing, but try to look at that aspect as well. If they won the fight, and that's one of the big key things, like, did they win the fight, or did they die early in the kill feed? Those are the two things that you're looking at when it comes to helping out with alt tracking. All right, so we got time for probably 2 more games, because we got 16 minutes and 22 seconds. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to mention or anything before we get started? No? Okay, one thing I do want to mention is this is something that helps unclutter comms and keep the rotations of stuff going well. One is, do not talk about what happened in the past. Nobody gives a shit. It is literally no reason to say anything, because it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. So something happened last fight that you need to, oh man, I can't believe this person killed me, or I can't believe blah blah did this, or we should have did this instead. Why are you saying it? It doesn't matter. The fight is over. We should be talking about what is happening next. So if those comments are coming up, mute your mic, whatever you need to do, but try to keep those comments to yourself and don't worry about it, because you can't change the past. The fight's over. So keep that in mind. Also, please make sure we're holding ultimates. Jar, you did really good on Ryan, but on that Diva, you just kind of went for a play. And I do want to highlight this. just because of the fact that this happened. You used Diva Bomb when we didn't call for it. Our whole team died. Your Diva Bomb got 2. It didn't fucking matter that you got 2 with your ult. And this is why we need to make plays with ultimates and listen to our shot call, okay? So if you see an opportunity, you need to be the one to speak up. Hey, do you want to use this ult? Do you want to use this? And that's why I said, hey, when we're up 1, which we was up 1 in that fight, we should have engaged with an ultimate, but we didn't. So that's something that they need to look for. But when you go ahead and use your ult, we couldn't use that the next fight, which is what the plan was going to be, is use the Diva Bomb to engage. We can't do that when you go in and use your ult. Okay, so I do want to mention that and stuff like that. And for anybody else that's still kind of using ult freely, please let us talk about that we held that Peace ult for 20 minutes. Like, there's no reason a bat should have to hold his ult for that long. That is something you have to keep an eye out for and who's building ult cards, alright? So just kind of keep that in mind and everything like that. So let's go into these last 2. For these last 2, I'm not going to say as much. I'm not going to tell you guys to call targets, what our plan is, stuff like that. The only thing I'm really going to do is kind of tell everybody to be quiet if somebody's talking. Don't try to talk over other people and stuff. But I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit and just kind of play the game and listen to what you guys are talking about, alright?
Welcome to Hollywood. Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Ryan Sig. McCree. And
Training wheels off, boys. Yeah. You said McCree Genji?
yeah.
Okay.
And for our healers,
Justice
we want
ain't
an
gonna
Ana
dispense
and
itself.
Lucio.
See, like, in this comp, you can run a Lucio, and I don't know if the McCree would actually be a good pick here. The McCree can work first point,
Our plan,
but I'm really curious on, like, what...
but if we start taking damage, we need to back away.
Okay. I'm really curious to see what the team comp swaps
And
to.
tell me when your shield gets low.
Second
so we'll,
point.
kind of have like we'll know, but right. So when it's time, we'll back away easily.
Because I'm really, that's what I'm wanting to see about this team comp is how Streets Phase plays.
5, 4,
Like we can kind of hold the corner,
2, 1.
and then if we lose, we'll come back to the second corner.
Defend objective A.
Alright, Zarya, Junkrat, Brig. Ooh, geez, that's a lot of damage.
Barriers. Ryan bubble.
They have a lot of burst. Sam
TP,
teleport.
They're TP.
Watch out for death.
Lost the healer. You lost both your heals. Both your heals are down right now.
We got at least contested.
Lucio's one, but Zarya's half.
Sorry's.
Get back down now.
Ryan's one. Ryan down.
Main tank. Yeah, it's good. We don't have enough time. Rotate back. We can.
I have high noon and 10% here.
Okay. So we have Ryan and
Junkrat's flanking on the
Okay,
left, I think.
Zarya ult to be 50%. Or maybe higher, 60.
okay. So save your shatter.
There,
for
Ryan has shatter.
I have high noon.
Okay. Save your,
Symmetra should have ult.
save your shatter for when the other Ryan shatters, and then just shatter him back. And as for high noon, if you can get high ground, surprise him, do that.
Okay. Okay, I'm on the high. I'm getting up to the high ground now. All right, you want me to use high noon here?
No, they have.
I'm completely out of the fight.
Okay, if you use shatter, you use Zarya
There's
ult.
no reason for me to take that high ground. That's exactly why you don't try to do that shit, because you're out of the fight for 4 or 5 seconds.
Junkrat has ult. Or
I'm not
Junkrat
doing
uses
anything.
ult, sorry, he's at 10%.
You can play
They have
Rissa.
beat and they have mercy ult.
That's the whole holy.
I have beat.
Turrets are down. Turrets are down.
As you run into the wall.
Symmetra on the left.
This is a
Sweet.
better fight for us because they use so many ults.
They have Symmetra turrets on the wall outside the entrance here.
He's still explaining his reasoning. Nobody gives a shit. sounds what we're doing.
Zarya's fully
This
charged.
is bad. Try to take high ground again, McCree, once you die. Now,
okay.
Try to rotate back, because this is not our spawn.
I've held high noon for now
this
almost
team
4
is-
minutes.
I have beat.
Like, we have 5 ultimates and we're still losing.
Let's start.
Doesn't make any
you lost
sense
the healer.
why we're
Yeah.
holding these ultimates.
Back.
Zarya's
Like, we're trying to get this high noon off. High noon's not gonna kill a lot of people. Alright, so you want high noon this fight, or what did you?
We can try
Okay, they
Nano
have
Blade or
both.
High Noon. We'll try Nano Blade.
Nano Blade? Okay.
They have both their healer.
Now we
ults.
use Nano before we can get the high noon up.
Okay, you can High Noon and bait out the beat. And then after that,
turrets on point. Turrets on point.
That was a waste.
okay, ready? I'm on the BCB. Ready?
Lucia's low.
We still have.
I haven't done shit.
We can use the supercharger next fight to build our ults again. And then
They have
We
both their
do
healer
not
ults.
care.
Sorry,
This
go
is
ahead.
stuff that you, like I said,
when they use
we don't care.
They get beat with Flux.
Alright, so Zarya has ult, they have Shatter, they have both their healer ults, and they have Junkrat Tire. I'm out of teleporter.
Teleporter's on one. Teleporter's down.
I don't know.
It's coming right. It's coming
That's
right. I got fire.
It's down.
Right behind. He's low.
take it down. Watch the res. Mercy's half.
Metro turret in the back wall.
Alright, so we got time for one more, so I'm gonna do a real quick summary. Okay, so 1. Twin Cities. Why are you telling us why? We do not give a shit. You keep doing this. You're saying we need to do this because nobody cares.
I'm sorry, it's hard. It's
Next
hard. I've been doing
thing.
it for 5 years.
It's fine. Next thing. You're waiting way too long to use ults and trying to make some huge ass opportunity for stuff to come through. I held McCreel for like 4 minutes, and then you're trying to tell me to go onto the high ground, which takes me completely out of the fight for 5 seconds to walk over to the high ground. By the time I get there, we lose the fight because there's no frontline pressure from me not being there. So that is a completely terrible play. You do not want to be doing stuff like that. Okay? If you're going to use the high, just use the high noon and hold the shield up. The first time when you called it, use that. Okay? Simple as that. Don't try to tell people how to necessarily do their hero. If you are wanting to take high ground for them, then you should be telling everybody, let's take high ground, and then you can say, all right, hey, let's go ahead and use let's use blah 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 this fight. Okay, fine. All right, next, target calling was okay. It was a little weak. I need you to be a little more vocal with everybody. You're kind of flooding into everybody else, so keep repeating the names a lot faster. You're at like maybe a 5 or a 4 on the speed and the amp that you're bringing. I need you to be at least a 10. So I need you to really tap into just being super fucking annoying and yelling, like maybe yelling, but like just repeating names as fast as possible. Okay, so keep doing what you're doing, because you're still doing some stuff there, and you're calling targets that are closer to us instead of targets that are way out of nowhere, and you're calling stuff that's kind of behind and out of position, so that's really good there. But just kind of keep that in mind. Alt tracking's okay. You're calling, we're still kind of talking over each other. Like, when our alt tracker is talking, let our alt tracker talk, and then we go on. It's hard to hear what our plan is and what their alts are if both of them are talking at the same time. So everybody just listen and go from there, okay? But biggest thing is literally, like, use these alts. We had 5 alts. We should not be losing alt fights with, like, more than 2 alts, okay? If we have 2 alts at least, we should at least be winning the fight or trading alts for alts on those fights. We should not be having 5 alts and losing. All right, let's go into our last one, and this one I'm not going to say anything, like, other than telling communication and stuff like that. Like
Can
relaying
I add
information.
just one thing?
Yes, go ahead.
When our tank switched, I think our healer should have switched too. We were running Lucio Ana, and
Yeah.
I know for Ano, it's probably hard to aim at a Sigma Orisa.
Well, not even that. I mean, depending. Well, and I will counter that with one thing too. If we still had the ultimates, we probably want to stay on them. Also, it can work, but it is one thing, and that is, I'm happy you brought that up. It is something that you may want to swap to. And at least the Lucio. You may want to swap the Lucio, because we're not going to be amping in, especially on defense. We're not really amping to someone.
Prepare to attack.
So,
Select your hero.
but I'm happy you did bring that up, Cafe, about that.
Oops, I was muted. I was like, okay, so we want a Orion. We want a Hog.
Oh, shoot, I forgot to talk about the team comp on second point.
Hanzo, wait,
Somebody bring that
Hanzo.
up, please.
And
With every day comes
a-
honor,
well, actually not Hog. I mean
honor,
Zarya.
redemption.
And then we'll want
Attack
a
commences
Mora
in 30 seconds.
and a Lucio.
It is not my preference to see them out as persons, but I will see them done.
So one thing's going to be very,
So our plan is we'll wait for them. We'll wait. They're gonna probably be at the choke, but we'll go around on the right, and then we'll take both teams. I mean, I'm just playing. I'm stupid. Yeah, that's our plan. And then you can bubble Ryan when
One.
we try to push through the choke.
Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
okay, so we go right side. Zarya.
Zarya, Sigma.
Oh yeah, this is free then, Ryan. Go in.
Ashes half. I'm down.
Yeah, we need to back out.
Sigma.
I thought we was going right side. We just went to the right and that was it.
I am not deterred.
So I'm gonna make you feel
That inside was big.
Name's
Okay, so they're Zarya's about 50%.
Through the dragons.
The Sigma's about 50%. They have about 20% for the bow snipers.
Oh, you got it. Mercy down. That's big. So, heal up Ryan and then we'll push in. Ryan, you're kind of low right now.
I have coalescence.
Ready? Honda's gonna take you.
Zarya's half.
Sigma's half. Zarya's low.
Gotta back out.
They have Zarya ult. 60% for Ashe, 60% for Hanzo. They have Mercy ult, and they have Nano.
I have dragons.
Yeah, we can use coalescence into them to try to keep us up. And then on point, use dragon once we go to point.
Bubble, please.
Shot caller should be.
Zarya's low.
Use coal to keep us alive.
Mercy.
You lost the healer.
Amara's down.
Back out.
What? It's winnable, bro.
I am restored.
Hanzo.
They have both their healer ults, and they have Bob.
It's good.
Honest high ground. Love it, bro. You still want me to use dragons?
No, not yet.
Sigma.
We should go.
Sigma ult's at 50%, 60%
High
actually.
right.
Zarya ult's at 30%.
I think they're taking
They
high
have
ground.
Bob. Hanzo ult should be at
See
20%,
through the dragons.
and they have Nano.
So wait till she bubbles. Come down. You
They
can
also
shatter.
have Mercy ult.
I still have dragons.
Put a dragon through this hallway.
Mercy's half. Mercy's down.
Worthy.
Okay. Head out.
For this,
What are we
for this
doing?
next fight, they have Zarya ult, they have Mercy ult, Nano, and they have Bob. Hanzo's ult should be about 80%.
Okay, so
I'm confused. Are we still
That's so
running
much on right.
a McCree versus two snipers?
I have to
Sigma,
let
Sigma,
Okay, go
Sigma,
Ryan,
Sigma,
go
Sigma,
Ryan.
Sigma.
To my will.
Oh shit.
By the dragon.
Watch out for that Sigma. He's nanoed. You gotta focus Sigma.
Ash, Ash, Ash. Sigma, 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 Sigma.
We can still possibly win this with Sigma. If you don't get killed by Sigma.
Sigma's half.
Hanzo, Hanzo, Hanzo.
Sigma back left side.
Sigma, 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 Sigma. Sigma, Sigma,
I'm
Sigma.
down. You lost both your heals.
If you think you can win, you can.
Zarya, 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 Zarya.
You need to back out.
Get in there.
Oh my god. Reaper came out of nowhere.
They have Zarya ult. They have Dragon. They have both their healer ults. Well, actually no. Moira ult's at 10%. They have
Never
Mercy ult.
surrender.
My plan.
We wasted Shatter there.
Grab Dragon, and then after that, we can hold the door.
Reaper ult should be
Yeah,
about
really.
50%.
Also, Hanzo's looking on the left.
Dragon.
Yes, yeah.
And they definitely have grass.
Not Dragon,
See through the dragon's eyes.
but they might combo Reaper with that.
Enemy contact. Not yet.
A couple people are still up, so Ryan, you take lead.
Moira, Moira.
See that which is
The Reaper's behind.
Get this Mercy. Mercy, Mercy,
I
Mercy.
have coalescence.
I have dragons.
Reaper's one, Reaper's one.
I have dragons.
I'm going to point.
Dragon point and grab it too.
Oh well.
Огонь по готовности. Fire at will.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She's going for red. Where's she? She's on
Half.
behind us. I'm hiding and keeping it alive.
Step rider.
Reaper has
Reaper,
ult.
Reaper, 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 Reaper.
The Reaper.
Now hold doors, hold doors. Nice job.
So a little better. It's still a little sloppy. One thing is that you're kind of like telling us, still taking too much time to kind of use ults and telling us when we need to engage. Like when we was getting a couple kills, you didn't tell us to engage. You literally told us to pull back. And I think who was it, our Lucio maybe was like, it's winnable. It definitely was. We had 3 kills. We should have just literally walked for it, used an ultimate, and walked for it. Like that's something you have to make sure you're telling your team, because if you're taking way too long to tell us what we need to do, the opportunity is going to be gone. So like when you're telling, like for example of this is like when you drag it, like when we're dragoning, when you say, oh, we need to use dragon, okay, I'm ready. Like if I say, hey, I'm ready to use dragon, or hey, do you want this ult this time? That's because I'm ready to use it. I see an opportunity. If you try to say it mid fight after we already have the ultimate, it's going to be kind of a little late there. So keep that in mind when it comes to using ults and stuff to that effect. It was, like I said, it was a little bit better. You didn't explain too much of what we was doing. And then the play, I'm confused on the play at the beginning because I thought we was going to go right, but we went to the right and then everybody went back to the main. Why did we do that? What was going on there?
Brain seizure.
Someone was calling out, I think the Zarya, who was main.
So what does that have to do with anything?
Well, for me, what was happening is, so it was my fault, but also people were just grouping up on that one side, so I just because they made.
So the plan wasn't going to go through now just because they're in an area. Like what was the reason behind going right? First off, let's start with that.
Because most teams will set up it on the other corner. That from my experience, at least, and I didn't want to take as much damage walking in, so we can have our full.
Okay, so you don't want to take as much damage, and then what?
And
What
then
was we going
the-
to go? Was he staying low ground? Was he going to take the stairs up high? What was he?
So if they're all bundled up into choke, Ryan can kind of do what he likes when he's bubbled, and then if we take someone out, we can push through.
Push through the main area?
Yeah, push through the middle.
So then how would we go? So what? We're going to go right and then we're going to backtrack and go left?
No. What I'm saying is we're right, but until we get to the choke, and then we go through.
Oh, under where the bridge is at.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. The right side where Symmetra would normally teleport in, that's where he was saying go right at the start, out of the spawn.
Oh. So, okay. I thought he was talking about going right after the choke.
No.
That's what I thought too. That's
To
not
get to the
right.
choke, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense then. Not really, but that okay. Okay, so
He said he was trying to conserve shield, basically.
okay, I get that. That can work, but I mean, either way can work. Cause a lot of not gonna have 20 people holding that area anyways because they can get one shot right out the spawn. So a lot of people won't hold there, or at least take that risk. Maybe a tank or something, but you're not gonna really have a lot of 200 HP targets hold. Very rarely now you'll see 200 HP targets holding in that top left window because you can literally headshot somebody from our spawn without even taking damage, which is why you don't see people standing up there as much anymore. Same thing goes on Route 66 with that big rock thing. You don't see people standing there either because the same concept applies from being able to shoot somebody from spawn. Okay, so that was the reason there. So it's time. So if any of you guys gotta head out or whatever, feel free to head out. I'm gonna go continue explaining. Then I answer some other questions if you guys have any other questions and stuff like that. But next is going to be the plays a little bit when it came to trying to ult on point and trying to come up with these elaborate plans. Don't try to make extra steps for it. Okay, having to make it on point and then use dragons, that's what? And by the time we're on point, we're probably going to have multiple kills, which is what happened. So I'm over here, we're ready to use ult, and I'm not really doing anything because I'm trying to play safe because I'm waiting for this to happen. But it's not happening because we're not doing anything. So the thing is, whenever you have an ultimate, you need to be using ults to start fights every single time. There's not going to be a time where you're going to be like, all right, let's wait to do an ultimate even though we have 5 online and then we'll use an ultimate. No, use ultimates to start fights every single time. Don't wait for some type of crazy opportunity or something like that. You can say, okay, open with this ultimate, and then if we need to, we'll use dragon. And then if I'm like, all right, do we need this? And then you can say yes or no. Next thing, target calling. Target calling was a little bit better there. Like I said, you still got to work on speed, but that's not going to be anything that you're going to be able to do in an hour and a half or whatever. So try to work on speed a little bit more. Your target priority, from what I've heard, has been pretty decent. So one thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to switching targets, especially with a mercy, is as soon as you see that mercy fly somewhere and it's close enough to us to focus it down, you should call that out literally as she's flying, because if you call it out there, she still has to make that distance and that cooldown's going to be starting, so that you have a second to kind of sit there. So that's one thing there. Next thing is going to be ultimate tracking. Ultimate tracking was okay. You got to remember, as soon as a fight's over, immediately start tracking ultimates and give a name and percent. There's still some that you're not mentioning, so at least try to get all 6 of them out every single time. Just come up with that consistency level to where you can say, all right, you can track every single ultimate, so you can start thinking of all 6 of them at the same time. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any last little questions or anything like that? No? All right.
Oh, man, thanks for your time.
All right, yeah, you guys can feel free to come in these lobbies. I do these lobbies pretty much every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Some variation of stuff like this. You can follow along on stream on YouTube at Mpulse_LW. And other than that, that's pretty much it. If you guys want to add me as friends, I'll accept friends. Please do not send me messages on my friends list. So I will not get them. other than that, I'm gonna head out. So I'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
All right, yeah, you too. All right. So that was interesting and fun. I mean, they had a consistency level right at the beginning. Toward the end, I don't think if they improved a lot. I think the consistency level got a little bit better, but it wasn't like, oh my god, they are so much better at this or so much better at whatever. So it's one of those things where it's like it was good, but now it's kind of like it's just a little bit better. You don't see that. There wasn't that much improvement. So if that's the case, then I think, like I said, overall they were decent. There was a play being made every time. There was this happening almost every time. It just needed to happen just more often and better and stuff. So pretty much it there. All right. I guess we can do